Oh, okay. I gotta learn how to do this.
All right. So, what drew you into wanting to start your spiritual journey or your self-healing journey in itself? Like, what was your wake-up call?
I had so many wake up calls, but I think the biggest one would have been probably when I got pregnant was my biggest wake up call. I had like, overdosed more than once before that, and I was hit by a car. Like I've had so many different moments where I've been like divinely saved and protected. So I think it was like kind of like all of that building up to like once I had my son, I started to really want to like be a better person, not just obviously not just for him, you have to do it for yourself. And I was already like in recovery from like addiction at that point for like 3 or 4 years. And so like once I after I got pregnant, now I have over 2 years sober and I'm doing things I never thought I'd do. So I've always been into spirituality since I was like a little girl. I was like, I had tarot decks and I was like going to Catholic school with like tarot decks and stuff, like getting yelled at and stuff. So like it's always been something that I've known like is innately a part of who I am and like why I'm here. So I think it's just something that I've always kind of felt that like pull to like learn more about, and like that's also why I like started experimenting with psychedelics and stuff like that, was because I wanted to connect to those realms. So I think that once I realized that it's already like a part of who I am and I don't need that stuff, like is really when things started happening on a much like more vibrational like frequency basis than just kind of flailing and trying to figure it out through substances.
Yeah. Speaking of psychedelics and substances, what was probably one of your most impactful moments during a psychedelic trip that led to an epiphany that you moved forward in your life with like some actual change to grow as a person?
I would probably, I mean, the one that pops up in my mind is um, when I was at this retreat and we were like meditating. We were like, oh, we're going to go meditate. And then we sat down and all of a sudden, like one of the girls went into the other room and she had this experience where she saw writing on the wall and she got kind of freaked out because she felt all of this emotion, and she came out saying someone had like maybe killed themselves in that house or somebody died in that house, and it was an Airbnb that we were staying at. So it was intense. Like she was crying. I went up to her and I felt the wave of emotion. Like I could feel like her emotion, and I was like, I'm gonna help her through this. And like I knew that I wasn't supposed to take that on. Like she had to like she had to have that experience herself. And me and the other beautiful soul that was there helped her through that. And we all kind of like learned from each other about this spirit that was still there, and unable to move on because of so many different things. Like we did a reading and I remember like the fragmented card come out, and I remember just it was a very intense emotional like time where I saw like how much of a difference we can make just by healing and coming together to not only heal ourselves, but we're like showing the spiritual realm like the impact our energy can have on each other, and we don't realize like that actually can impact every single part of the universe.
Um,
um so that really changed. Like I mean I've like this was pretty recent, so I've already had like a lot of different experiences, but that one really like after that retreat I came back, even people were telling me that I was different, like there was something different, and I definitely feel different.
yeah, that's for sure.
So and yeah, we basically like were able to help that soul move on. And one of the last things I remember was like they were like saying not to take everything they were saying so literally, because like they buried the memory of him, and all we were here like all one of them heard was like they buried me, and so like but then not to take that literally. And I was like, okay, well then that it's like the memory of him has been like forgotten and nobody cared when they passed away. So this is why like we're here to help him see that like even if you feel like no one cares, like we are people that care, and we don't even necessarily know you, but we care because like we understand the connection we have with everything.
Um,
And so yeah, that was really impactful for sure.
I like that. I like that answer. What has been the best part of either your spiritual development, your psychic abilities, or just your self-healing journey in itself?
It's a good question. Best part. And you know what? That's funny because like what I watched last night, the channeling by Esther Hicks of Abraham Hicks, it was like she was talking about how it's only ever getting better. So I don't think we've experienced the best part even ever. You know, it's always getting better. And um, I remember like thinking like if I had known, you know, because I always was like, why don't we know about these abilities? Like when we're, you know, why don't we remember everything? And it's like, well, if we remembered everything, it wouldn't be so special when you learn about it or you'd already know about it. And that's like another thing that I learned last night watching this channeling. She explained like almost like becoming human is almost like a vacation from that constant oneness where there is no polarity, there is no differences really. I mean, there's, you know, I don't even know, I can't even put it into words, you know.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I remember we had talked about it on a live before too that I was on. How draining it can be to constantly feel one and connected. Yeah, yeah, it makes sense.
Right. And it's like, and I just feel like she was explaining so much last night, like about how it's like a river and like, you know, we've been conditioned to believe that we have to go like, we have to work hard and go against the current because if we're going with the flow, we're lazy, we're not working hard enough. But it's like, what do you think you're going to get out of all of that? Like pushing yourself and burning yourself out and doing like all of this extra stuff where like you can just go with the flow of life and like kind of like vibrate at the frequency of the stuff that you want and like deal with the things that are part of being human, but not let them control you and not let them like, you know, affect your every like you know, your every move.
Right. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, here's a good one. What has been the most challenging part of your personal development?
I think I'm going through that maybe right now. I feel like it definitely was very challenging to let go of the father of my child that I was with for almost a decade. And that was like my first love and all that. That's what I thought it was. It's a trauma bond. And I see that now. And I'm definitely still healing from that, even though I know I've done a lot of the work. Um, I think at this point, I'm feeling like things should be, and like I feel like things should be moving quicker, but at the same time I know I'm exactly where I need to be. And I sometimes have to keep reminding myself of that because sometimes I feel like, you know, I'm putting in all this work and all this effort and all this time. And but then I also realized this like a week or two ago about if like everything was like going so fast and taking off like so quickly that I was so even more overwhelmed than I'm overwhelming myself as I am already, like doing so many different things. But then I wouldn't have any kind of time to spend with like my little baby. And he's, you know, he's still a baby. He's 16 months, but you know, he's still learning how to walk. Like, so it's like I realized, you know, like every single thing happens in divine timing when you're living in alignment with your purpose and your path. And I know I'm doing that. So like I really have nothing to worry about. It's just that kind of that work that I have to do, that shadow work. So that's definitely the most challenging part.
Yeah, there's a lot of that and always more to do.
Always.
What would you, or what, let me ask this one of two ways. Either what would you define as your purpose, or what have you decided your purpose is? Whichever way that resonates.
I definitely feel like we all have more than one purpose. Like there's more than one mission or purpose within each and every one of our maybe soul contracts or whatever, you know, you want to call it. And I definitely think that for me, I want to help people learn about their abilities. Like I really want to help people develop like their connection with spirit and like the connection with the collective consciousness so that we can really like fully see like the full picture. Because I think people, you know, hear about this collective consciousness, but we don't really fully grasp like the gravity of how powerful that is. So I really want to be able to bring that into like a more bring people into a more connected field where they're able to like work together to heal and save, and like things like that. I have this group on Facebook that I just joined, and it's like channeled writings, and one of them I saw the other day, it was from like, I think it was from Mother Mary, and she was saying how as a collective, like, we can save these poor children that are being abused and kidnapped and trafficked and all of this crazy stuff that's happening that people are aware of now. And like, I'm gonna start crying. Like, people are aware of it now, but it's like we can do something about it as a collective. We just have to like really choose to. I'm sorry. I've been getting so much more emotional lately. Like, I
That's
had the
okay.
ugliest cry. I had the ugliest cry like maybe 2 or 3 nights ago, and it just felt so fucking good to get that out, because I haven't been able, like, I turn my emotions off very easily, as you can see.
Yeah.
Like, I learned that really young, how to turn off my emotions. And then after like my ex, that was the only thing I ever cried about, and so then I didn't want to really cry over. And I thought like it was going to be crying over him, but like that cry was for me. That, like, that, you know what I mean, that time that I spent the other night just like wailing,
Yeah.
was for me, and to heal, like, and to really release it. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, so I want to help in making the world and the collective like better connected, and like
How
the
have
highest.
you, sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
talk
no, no,
over you.
you're good.
How have you taken steps towards those goals for yourself already?
Well, I definitely have been working so hard on like getting my social media like following up there. And when I do my readings, wanted to start a nonprofit when I was in high school. Like, I came up with this idea with a friend to start a nonprofit called like Make Your Mark, and we were gonna do like animal footprints or something. Like, it was gonna be cute, but like we wanted to help endangered species. And so on my live, I donate 25% of all the readings that I do to, like, we've donated to helping endangered wolves in Missouri. And then we adopted a dolphin named Rocky with like Rickleberry's Dolphin Project, and they do rehabilitation for like marine life that are retired performers, and then they put them back into the ocean. So
Okay.
like,
Cool.
I want to like eventually like start a nonprofit of my own, but like right now I'm doing as much as I can to give back and to like do like the little bit that I can do, you know what I mean? And then I have like my Patreon, which is really where I feel I'm gonna end the podcast that I'm starting to, that I feel is gonna be able to reach more people. Um, because with the Patreon, it's going to be a lot more exclusive stuff. And I'm also ready. Like, I wrote a book, but it's not it's still in the works. Like, it's an autobiography. Um, and my guides like want me to wait on publishing because I wanted to have it published like by this time next year. And like, and they're just like, it'll be published when it's gonna be published. Just relax.
Well, you already
um,
have like a couple of contacts. Bobby Joe, writing her book too. So like you ever need help, she's always there too.
Oh yeah, she I really, that's the thing. It was at the retreat that I was like told it's not time, it's not time. Like the first or second night, and it was me and another girl that was there that was like she had the same experience that night when we like took the Blue Lotus capsules that I like take every day. So before we went to sleep, and we were like, maybe we can dream together. And then like it actually happened for like me and another one of the girls, and we didn't even realize it until like the last day. And she was the one that was actually took me to the airport, and like we went to a store together because it was like a 2 hour drive. And it was kind of funny because like she had the exact same experience. It was like, and I honestly think it had something to do with the spirit that we helped, because I was that night, my dreams were crazy. I was like falling through different timelines is what it felt like. Like I was very overwhelmed. It felt like I was going through all the different timelines that I've ever existed in type shit. And
Wow.
I remember coming out of it, and there was like a black sheet or something over me, and that's what it felt like. I was almost in sleep paralysis. And I believe we transmute energy in our dream time. Like, I 100%, I lucid dream, and I only can do that because I had terrible night terrors, and like, had to deal with that and like kind of come out of the dream or the night terror that I was having where I thought I was being abducted by aliens and stuff. I honestly don't know. I think it might have been my ancestors just trying to get me to like start lucid dreaming because so I don't know, but now like I really do believe we transmute in our dream time, and since there were so many healers there like sleeping in the same under the same roof and like in the same room even, I think that's why she may have had the same experience because we were and we were sleeping really close to each other too, so like her bunk was like right below, like diagonal below from mine, and she said she had the same exact experience, like it's not time, they just kept saying it's not time, it's not time, and we felt like that it wasn't like a negative energy, but it was like a dark like sheet almost like holding us from not from like transmuting him or her back to wherever, you know, or to move on or wherever they, you know, they go after you die. But yeah, so I just lost my train of thought. So what was the question?
Let's see. What was the question? I wrote it down. I forgot what I asked. Let's see. I already asked that one. Which one was it? I forgot which question it is. I think we asked like it was another question based off of a question.
The
That's
purpose
why I don't have it
or
right
something.
down.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it was the purpose one or something. Yeah. That's my purpose.
You know what? I think that's probably just like spirit saying, okay, like let's just move on. Let's move on. All right. It must have been answered good enough, apparently. Let's see. Okay. Oh, here's the next one. What obstacles internally or externally have you faced when you were trying to overcome like specific situations that you felt kept you from advancing spiritually?
The first thing that comes to mind is my relationship, because I feel that was a lesson I had. Like I didn't have to keep learning it, but I kept learning it over and over. Like a fucking like, it really like it doesn't make me mad because I know there's no time wasted, and I have a beautiful baby boy, and I don't know if I'd have him if I had left, you know, before, yeah, because I left and then like I moved out and then like got sober for a couple months, and then after I was sober for a couple months, one night I stayed over and I ended up pregnant. Like it was some like chance, like they were like that. I really do believe that if I didn't have my son, like I don't know if I would be where I'm at, you know what I'm saying? Because like that gave me the push like to like stop like going back to the same lessons and the same mistakes over and over, and the same self-destructive behaviors over and over, because like I deserve better than that, and I'm here to do so much more than that. So that was definitely one of the biggest challenges, and it's still as a like something that I'm healing and working on, because it was a lot of years of that, you know, same old like, and it was like that comfortably uncomfortable that like Bobby Joe said before, like that really resonated with me, and it makes so much sense.
And the first time I heard like somebody say like it's easier to I actually just posted about this today. Like it's easier to sit in your own misery than it is for the like even little bit of uncomfortability from change. I was like, fuck, like the first time I heard that, I was like, you're right, and I hate you for it. Oh my gosh, that's funny. How has parenting while being self-aware and reparenting your inner child changed your life?
Honestly, that's so funny because I want to do a podcast like about conscious parenting. Like I want to do a whole episode about that because I find it like, I think it's a really necessary thing that like we need to talk about.
Especially with different cultures too.
Absolutely. And it's, I noticed like now that my parents are older, especially my dad, like he's so much like better with my son, and but at the same time it's like he does things like let's say your prayers, and it's just like dude, like he's 16 months, like it's like they don't make him go to church or anything like that, but it's I don't know, like I want my son to be able to like choose what he wants to do, and he's already like playing with my spirit sticks and my cards. Like I know he's going to be like into, you know, spirituality and all that, but it's not like I'm going to make him, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like it's not about shaping them and like to what we think would, you know, like the best version of themselves is what they see as the best version of themselves. And like going shopping for him for Christmas the other day. I got those headphones because like my inner child was so happy looking at the kids stuff. And I got these like Squishmallow headphones I was so excited to use for this podcast. And then they were way too small for my head. And so, but
You'll have
it's
to
like, at least we
regift and buy
got
another
them.
pair.
Right. It's like, but I'm still able to like, now when I do things with my son, I realize and I remember to like that, like my inner child is there too. Like, and my inner child has come to me in meditation saying like, I am so like happy of the life that like we've created for ourselves. Like my inner child's so happy with everything right now. And it makes me really like, I want to cry. like my emotions have been so crazy. But yeah, like it's really nice to know that I'm able to have that for my son, because I didn't want to, like when I was, pregnant, I was scared, because like I was not, I would rather be single and in like than be in a toxic relationship and like modeling that, you know what I mean, for my child. Um and I know like some people think like stay together for the kids, but like is that helping them or hurting them,
Right.
And so I really had to look at that, and I really like, especially after that whole thing, with the reading that my friend did for me, it really changed my perspective. So now I realize that like when the time is right, like somebody will come into my life that's going to give me and him like the, love that we deserve and security and all that. But I can do that on my own. So that's really what it comes down to, is like having that self-love. And I haven't had that, I don't think. Like, I don't know if I've never really focused on self-love because I wasn't taught about it. Like I'm gonna like teach him about it. And so I'm so grateful, I'm honestly so grateful that I'm like gonna be like, I'm able to like keep kind of like learning with him.
Yeah,
But
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. The other day I was scrolling on my For You page and I can't for the life of me remember the name of the woman who posted it or her handle, but she was posting about conscious parenting, and she used that one sound, where it's like the music and at the beginning and then it's like screaming at the end with the music. It's like, but anyway, she was posting it and it said, her giving her daughter all the love and care and kindness that she never got as a child. And then she was like smiling for the child, and then she turns to the side and then she just starts screaming, and she's like, and my inner child feeling jealous and sad all the time. How does that make you feel, being a person who like wasn't taught about self-love, and now, like you just said, like wanting to teach that for your son? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
That's interesting. I feel like that I think you could look at that as like, I don't want to say it's a limiting belief, because I know that there's healing to be done for my inner child, and I don't know, like that's something I would have to think about for sure. But I definitely feel like you can incorporate like your inner child with, like I was saying, like with your teaching your kid about that kind of like the self-awareness and self-love, and standing up for yourself but not being a bully, stuff like that like we weren't really taught as kids. We kind of just were like thrown into it, like so that's a really tough one. That's you got me in that one.
Yeah, that really, like when I saw that, it triggered me so much, because like I most definitely have felt jealous of my son for me being the type of parent that I am. Most definitely 100%. And that was so weird to feel jealous of him for me loving him and like respecting him. And yeah, it threw me
my
for a
son's still
loop.
so young, so like when he's a little bit older, I could see that happening for sure. I feel like since he's still so young, I that would be something you have to come back with that one.
Yeah, I'm like meditate on that. Use that for a shadow work prompt or something, because yeah, it put TikTok trauma page, man. It gets me on a whole nother level. It's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. So
that's a good one.
what was an experience while you were meditating that you will probably like never forget?
Well, today someone clicked their tongue at me like this. I was like, my mom's not here, right? Like, and that was interesting. But like, I remember um, one of the things that actually happened recently too was like I saw like somebody sit, like not somebody, but like it was like air, but like my bed like moved, like somebody sat on it, and it was that I'll never forget that. But I remember one of the first things that I ever experienced meditating, where like I actually heard like someone coughing, and it happened twice, and it was like I was smoking all day every day back then. So, and even Avery was telling me like you gotta cut back, you gotta cut back, and it's just kind of numbing you. And so I remember I heard one cough, and then I heard another cough that was like completely different from that person's cough, and it was definitely like my ancestors just kind of like stop.
Stop coughing. As I get chills over my whole body, like, bitch, are you listening? Lung cleanse, motherfucker. Okay, shut up.
I know, girl.
So they're always just like calling me out, and like I get it, like tough love sometimes, but like fuck, I like weed, okay? Leave me
You
alone.
know.
They're just like,
Okay.
no. And I used to use it for like, I was like, it's how I ground. It's just like how I connect spiritually. But I was like, bitch, like you don't need that to connect. You're just using that to escape. I'm like, oh, right. Anyway, I digress.
No, I get it. Like that's the only, like I remember I got my medical card because like I was an outpatient, and like you had to have your medical card if you wanted to get take homes, and so like I paid all this money to get a medical card because I was like I'm not gonna stop smoking weed. Like, so I get it. And the only reason I've like cut back is because like the dabs have been fucking my throat up like bad.
I know. I've been smoking for like 4 years plus straight now, like almost not smoking. Like I've probably gone like a sprinkle of a couple days not smoking within there. Like I know when I went to Texas, like I didn't smoke because people there like don't like the smell of weed and all that. But oh wait, nope. I went to somebody else's house to smoke. That's a lie. I smoked. That's a lie. So yeah, I've smoked pretty much every day for like fucking 4 years now. And so I constantly have to smoke indica dabs because everything else just like isn't strong enough. So I'm like, yeah, that's probably a sign you smoke too much, bitch. Okay. So besides getting medicated, what does a like daily spiritual practice or just a way that you ground and connect with yourself look like for you?
That's actually funny because like I just got this journal or this planner that kind of has forced me to do like a daily 3 card pull for myself, and then a weekly pull and a monthly pull and all this, like, and it's like set up in the planner for you. And they gave you like extra pages for the end of this year, so I've had like October through December like up pages just to, and it's kind of forced me. And I've also started getting up at like today I got up at like 5:30 in the morning, and I never ever thought I would be someone that got up before the sun came up, dude. Like I would, early for me was like 8 a.m.
Oh my gosh. Me waking up at 3:33 every day for 2 months now.
Oh my God. And like I wake up in the middle of the night, even if my son doesn't, like I wake up between 3 and 4. And that's another thing that happened like a week ago or so. Like I remember it was like right after that, like channeling with the thing at my door. It was like 3 a.m. I got up and checked on code. I came back to lay down, and in my peripherals, as I'm laying down, right next to my door, where like that corner, there was like an outline of like a being. It was like a light outline of a being, like, but it wasn't like completely light. It was just a light outline, and it was maybe like a 3 foot tall being. It was a fairy, because Avery was like over the next day or two, and he was like, "Yeah, that was a fairy." And I was just like, "Oh my!" And like my heart dropped, and I was like scared, and I was like, "All right, I know it's not bad, like I'd feel it if it was bad." And so yeah, I have been getting up earlier and just doing like I got off topic there, but I've been getting up earlier and just doing like my morning meditation with my ancestors and my guides, and doing a reading for myself every morning. Like I said, this morning there was that crystal in the deck I pulled. So and then I do, like my live, and I do readings for people, and then I either like work on my book. Obviously, I take care of my son. And if I like need help, like obviously my mom comes over if she's not working. And I have a lot of stuff like that's in the works right now. And if I feel like I want to like have a day just to relax, I'll paint. And my mentor, Avery, my best friend and mentor, comes over like once a week. And we do readings together and talk about life and just stuff like that. So
That sounds pretty much like, yeah, like what I do. And I like that. I like the go with the flow vibe. I used to have this routine where I was like, have to do like a million things a day. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot be a spiritualist. I can't do this.
I know. I get that. All my readings, like today was like lighten your load, and like it's always like focus and like
Yes.
and the other day they were telling me like stop using ADHD as a cop out. I was like, thanks.
I saw that post the other day. I was like, oh, stop. You were calling me out right now. I was like, probably payback for some of those posts I threw your way.
Oh my gosh, that family one, like the family member holiday one I saw, like I was like, dude. Then I started thinking about it. I'm like, shit, at least we don't go to my dad's side of the family anymore. Like my mom's side's all right, but
that was like so inspired by so many tragic holiday get-togethers. I was like, I just can't not post this right now. How has your spiritual abilities developed over time of you practicing, whether that's, daily practices or just things you do once a week or once a month or once a year?
It's actually funny because I was like inspired when I saw one of your videos talking about like practicing palmistry and stuff, and then like I started seeing like the palm like in my mind's eye when I was meditating, so I was like, all right, I gotta get one. So I ordered one, and then I was seeing posts about like the M on the palm and like all these different like things about like palmistry. So I definitely like there's things like I want to learn about tea leaf readings. I actually met somebody at the witches ball I did and actually like I think it was the day before Halloween this past year. October was a crazy month for me. Like I got back and I was like, I don't even know what I'm wearing to the ball from the retreat.
Cinderella vibes. I don't even know what I'm wearing to the ball.
I was like one of the only people that wasn't wearing a dress. I was like in hippie pants, like gypsy clothes.
You see Grace and Frankie on Netflix?
I think I've heard of it. I've seen like previews of it. I do want to watch it.
It's so funny. I immediately saw Frankie.
I want to like I think I have seen episodes of it. I want to rewatch Broad City. I'm so sad it ended. Broad City was my favorite show. But anyway, but yeah, no, I have like really I've been able to meet a lot of incredible people, and I've been able to like learn and gain like inspiration and like exchange like energy and ideas, and like this like collaborate with like such beautiful souls, and like it's something that I don't take the time to like really sit and understand that like I'm actually a lot farther than I had expected to get at this point.
Yeah.
So, and I feel in the spiritual community a lot of us can do that because it can be overwhelming. There's so much to learn. You could spend your whole life learning about one subject, like astrology. Like I'm reading a book about astrology right now, and I'm like getting overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my God.
And all the imposter syndrome on top of that, like on top of like so much of this is done like intuitively and you can't like prove. So if somebody else isn't like experiencing it, you're like, fuck, it must not be real. Not to mention so many spiritual people are the same ones who've been abused and gaslit their whole life. So imposter syndrome on top of facing depression, anxiety, and imposter syndrome. Mix it all together in a big fucking cauldron and suck on that. Oh my God.
That one got me, man. I fucking love you.
Oh my God. That's just like
that's so true, man. Because it's like we wouldn't be able to be healers if we didn't like go through something.
Right.
So like because we just wouldn't understand it. And we asked for this. I signed up for this shit.
I made a post one time where I was talking about like, don't forget, like, you signed up for this, like this is in your soul contract. People got so mad at me in that comment section, but I'm like, babe, if you're just not on the wavelength and you just don't know, I'm not going to sit here and argue in the comment section. You chose this shit. I'm telling you, like, I got mad when I chose my trauma too. When I found out this is part of a soul contract, I got real mad at myself, but it took a whole lot of acceptance. And now look, bitch, you're creating a whole life in a business, profiting off of the shit that people tried to break you down doing to you. Look at that.
Right. Dude, it's crazy. And I mean, that's a part of like I think why like it had to happen. Like everything happens the way it's meant to, but like in the world today, like we need people that understand trauma to want to fix like the way the shit is in the world today, and to like be relatable and not just like someone telling you that they understand because they have a degree or something. Like,
Right. Or telling you that they know just because they've been through like kind of similar, but it's like we need people who need to understand that like you can only understand to an extent. Like it's not like I literally
and be
hated
willing
so
to say
much.
that.
Yeah, because I hated so much like people trying to like relate to me and feel so relatable. It feels like they're trying to like be me. And I'm like, bitch, like you do not feel what I feel in my brain and my body. Shut the fuck up. What do you mean and no, you don't.
Just hold
No.
space, right?
Yeah,
Just
you can
hold space for
exactly.
me right now.
Yes.
I don't need you to know because you don't. I get it.
Yeah. And that's what I think, like, especially like white people need to understand, white spiritual healers need to understand, especially when dealing with any clients of any other ethnicity, you can only understand to a certain extent. I've had clients where like ancestor readings and their ancestors were like, I don't want to talk to a white girl. And like, I was like, I totally get it. I got it. And I sent them to somebody who they would resonate with. And they sent them a few people actually. I got to choose, and which is why I love like networking with other healers, because you get to like have other people who they can also vibe and you can like share business. And they come to me for like relationship readings rather than ancestral guidance, like, and it's up to us as healers to understand like we're working with beings beyond who've dealt with white people who no longer want to deal with white people for like understandable reasons. So shut the fuck up, understand where it's your place and where you not for you.
Yes, and be willing to accept that. And it's not a competition, like there's no finish line, like we're just here healing, like setting an example of healing ourselves, like so that people can like that's what I really want to be able to like show people, like like I got my Reiki attunements and that helped me get upgraded like faster. But I like now that I've had time to like work in energy, I don't really like, I'm not saying that you like, I just don't think you need the Reiki attunement necessarily to be able to work in your energy. You know what I mean? And like I believed that I needed those attunements to like at that time. So I think that's why I feel I need to say that.
Yeah, no, I started a Reiki course online, and the instructor, he was sitting here and he was like saying, you don't need to for all the attunements and stuff. He was talking about he spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars doing it. And he's like, no, like you do this work within yourself. That's what empowered me a lot to like hear a Reiki master say that to me, that like I was capable of doing this within myself. Because there was, like I said, that imposter syndrome.
Yes, absolutely. And I was so the way my Reiki my Reiki master manifested, like it was crazy because I got the book and then I was like looking at these expensive online classes, and then I was like, and basically I talked to like my counselor about how I'm trying to start a Reiki business and I'm trying to do all these things. She's like, you're not trying it, you're doing it. Like she changed, like she gave me that and I was like, holy shit, that was a good seed. Like and then the very next day in the group, which I'm not gonna give any names because I'm not supposed to talk about it, but like she asked about how we meditate, and the girl that talked about it after me was like, oh, I do Reiki. And then I connected with her and she connected me with her family friend who was her master, and I got to like give her a painting for the girl who was that like was in my group, and who was like, I don't know how they were related, but I gave her a painting and she gave me all 3 attunements over like some months. And she's still like a mentor. Like she said, obviously I can get a hold of her whenever I want. She's local. So it like, and I wasn't like harping on it or worried about how it was gonna, I just knew that I was meant to do it because I've been interested in Reiki since I heard the word, like since I found out what it was. You know what I mean? And that was like when I first got into recovery and stuff. Like they were trying to plant these seeds and get me to like take it, and I was just like connected to my like so I was so like hyped up my ex's ass. It was, but now I can see that's what matters.
How has becoming a Reiki master yourself taught you lessons about yourself or your development?
Well, it was like my second attunement, I remember I was like putting Sheila G in my coffee every morning, and I was like having hot coffee at that point. And one morning I put like more than I was supposed to in there and I threw up. And then like the next day I just like no, I couldn't keep coffee down for like 2 weeks. I was like, it's fine. And every time I couldn't keep it down. So finally I was like, it has something to do with my, and like I was talking about it in my life and someone was like, it's because of your upgrades that you're going through. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. And so then I stopped drinking coffee. I got rid of my coffee maker and all that. And I started to really understand like how much like everything affects our energy, like everything. You know what I mean? So it was like I'm starting to become more conscious about like when I'm eating and like um more intentional with that kind of stuff too, and like just becoming more aware of how everything is sentient, like in on this planet, like, you know, everything is having some kind of experience and perspective that is a little different from yours, but it's still all a collective experience. And once I got like I said, like it gave me a lot more confidence. Like when she did my last attunement, I remember one of the things like I heard when she was like doing like blowing her like the air into my crown. I was like, I remember hearing like, I got the power. And I was just like, yo, like I can't deal with this. And like I started to like understand that like for me, like everybody has different kinds of like confirmations and signs and like ways that they communicate with spirit and with their guide team and everything. And so I was always like waiting for like these big signs, and it's a lot more subtle, so much more subtle than like sometimes it is really like in your face, like,
Right.
you know,
The bus where it's like 4 4 4 4, like right when you
Dude, oh my god, the angel numbers are, and especially my birthday, yo, it's like I've been seeing my
Yes.
birthday for like I just, it feels like forever. And then deja vu has been a big one too, like lately. But like I realized like for me, like it's almost like I'll hear it too, like, but it'll almost be like a like thought like it's planted in my head from like the right hemisphere in the back or the left hemisphere, and like it's so hard to explain. And you feel the different energies, like you start to really, for me, like my, I always thought I was an empath, and like I realized like my clairsentience is just like one, that and my clairaudience are like one of the most developed skills like that I have intuitively. And so it's like getting in touch with like your own energy is like the biggest, I think one of the biggest, most important things, and protection, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. I was like constantly in the beginning of my journey, I especially like through TikTok, I found like Ashley and King Soon and Bobby Joe, and eventually like I found your content too. And there was just all these different people that like I found, and I was like, okay, I gotta like heal like them and do their kind of stuff. And like this is the energy that I want to bring. And I was like, whoa, bitch, you need to like slow your roll, pump your brakes and turn it around, sit down and put one left foot in and take it out and reevaluate, because you're not any of those motherfuckers. I was like, right now you need to do it how Trinity wants to do it. And I was like, but what does that mean?
Right. Oh my God.
I actually heard this quote the other day and I wrote it down on my spirit sticks. I forget who it's by, but it was we don't discover ourselves, we decide who we are, we create who we are.
We create ourselves or something.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I've seen that. Yes.
And I was like, holy shit, that's so true, because I kept thinking like on the perspective, or from the perspective of like there's this version of me out there that I just like I used to be, but like I need to get back to that. But I'm like, no, bitch, like I literally was depressed and I felt broken and completely like disconnected from everything, and like I was abused and a people pleaser and I neglected my, like none of that is who I want to rediscover. The fuck?
Right.
With a capital so yeah, no. So yeah, it's like most definitely just like it started new, honey. This is not something we want to return to. This is root or fucking a root one, square one, fucking root one.
That's telling me to work on my root.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Same.
But yeah, no, like what was I gonna say now? Like I don't know, it's just when I was thinking about like how like every single person has something different to offer, and like when you live in your most authentic, like your most authentic truest self, that's your highest self. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I mean, there's always, like I said earlier, it's always getting better. Like there's always something better to look forward to and like to aspire to and evolve to and grow into, you know, like I like had this download like a week ago. It was like existence is evolution, and I was just like, okay, like,
I like that.
because we can't exist without evolving, you know, like even if it's
Yeah.
gonna be like as little as like getting older, you know what I mean, or as much as like studying and bettering yourself, like consciously, you know what I mean. So, um, you know, like I've been thinking a lot about like when I realized like I can't do the growth for them, like for my, you know, loved ones that I was trying, like my baby's father, I was trying to pull him out of like his own shit, and like he has to pull himself out of his own shit, and it's like you just can't evolve for them, and that really like kind of like planted a seed with me, and then I like thought about that other one the other day, and I was like, damn.
Yeah. I feel that. I think there's like, especially like, I don't like saying empath, like empath is separate from other people, because I truly believe that everyone's an empath. You just have the choice to use your empathy or not. I think
100%.
I think a lot of people use the term empath and then like feel superior. So then it's like, you're kind of being counterproductive, my dude. Check your ego, motherfucker. I'm an empath. What are you? Not putting up with your fuckery. Get out of here. Ridiculous. Fuck, I forgot that. My next question was going to be, what's an unpopular opinion I have? That's the answer. The people in my comment sections, I'm unfollowing you. You're not a real empath.
Dude, for real though, because it's so true. You have to like check your ego like all the time. Like it's hard. Like I have like that's like my main shadow work thing is like the ego problem. Like, or like the things that I'm working on right now. Like seriously, it's like, why do you care so much about what everybody fucking thinks? Like
I always get
really
caught up in the like, is it based in ego? Is it based in ego? Is it based in ego? And I'm like, okay, now you're just basing it in anxiety. Shut up. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh, here's a good question. We're gonna start to wrap this up because I'm gonna have to get my kiddos soon off the bus. But here's a couple little questions that I like going into 2022 here. Really, really close. What fears have you faced this year?
Being alone, like being single, fuck. Finding like my independence for sure, and like living alone, and all of that, and being a single mother, like shit. I've definitely faced the fear of like traveling alone, shit. Like I'm a loner. No, but I definitely had a fear of like the spiritual realm because of my first awakening when at 15 or 16 or 17. I started like partying at 15. It was around 16 or 17. I had my like premature awakening, and I missed all a month of school, and like was just like super like felt like dude, I would think of something and it would show up on my Tumblr, and like it was weird. Like it felt like I was just like way too plugged in and I couldn't unplug, and it was scary. I was 17, like, and I didn't get in. It was substance induced, so it was just terrifying. And there was no spiritual community at that time. There was no TikTok. There wasn't any kind of anything like that. And so I was pretty much completely alone. Like my mom took me to the fucking priest like at one point because like, she wanted to talk to somebody about like what, because I was like, I have to save the world, and he was like, you can't like do anything right now, like you know. And I didn't, and I knew I was supposed to fix things in the world, but I couldn't at that time, so I just felt so helpless, you know. And so coming into this, I was scared of getting back into it because I'd had a lot of really really like terrifying experiences, like because I was connecting the wrong way. I mean, not the wrong way, but with the wrong intentions behind it, you know. Like I wanted to connect, but I also wanted to get like party and like get messed up and shit, you know what I mean? So it wasn't pure intentions. And so I definitely, like, that was a big one for me, because I think if I hadn't faced that fear, obviously I wouldn't be here today. You know what I mean? And that was something that like I was very wary about at that point, because I didn't know how I was gonna heal it. I didn't know if I was gonna, you know, like invite in bad things, because I was also raised Catholic, and so it was just a mixture of all that trauma that I hadn't really faced. And then once I got into the spiritual community on TikTok and really started stepping into my power, it was like instant. So those are a couple ones.
Well, I kind of answered my last question, is like, how has TikTok impacted you in your development and your business, like that too? Like, you want to talk about your business?
Well, yeah, like it's definitely like given me the like a space to be myself and to like find my tribe, and I'm really grateful for that because I didn't like I thought TikTok was the stupidest thing when I first heard about it. I was like, dude, I'm not downloading this ever. And then they were like, Trump's gonna take it away and you won't be able to download it unless you download it now. So I was like, okay. And so I downloaded it and started making like videos of my son and stuff. And those were getting like that was a couple thousand here, a couple thousand there. So I made that his TikTok when I decided to start doing paintings on my own like page or whatever. And I wanted to talk about stuff, but I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. So like I was just like, just my brother's like, just start with paintings. Like you already do the paintings. So that was like where I started. And then I considered even making a whole new one for like the spiritual stuff. But I kind of found that like art is like in me, it's a part of who I am. Like my grandpa, who's like a part of my guide team now, a big part, he was an amazing artist that did like I don't know, like real acrylic art. I mean, like you know what I mean, like mountains and like scenery and stuff. I could do that, but like I do fluid art, you know. So I pour. It's more like abstract what I do. But yeah, but yeah. So I enjoy that, but I know that's like, and I'm gonna be starting to do runes and sigils and stuff. Like I'm gonna offer that like on the artwork, as like and use that as like a backdrop. I just got a calligraphy set and stuff. So like I feel like that really like kind of pushed me into out of my comfort zone and into like being a content creator of some sort. And then I started, yeah, obviously, like I said, meeting like people in the spiritual community and like getting my decks and getting into everything that like I've always known was a part of me. And like obviously Avery was a big part of that because he was like, you have all the abilities that I have, like you're a medium too. When I was like still pregnant, he was like, I wasn't supposed to tell you this, but I'm like, okay.
Trade secret. Street smart.
So like, and yeah, it's been a journey for sure. And I think it's definitely just been like it's definitely just like a starting point. I think there's a lot more to come for a lot. Like I feel like a lot of the people that like are starting out on TikTok are like going to be really big like pioneers in this ascension and in the process of like this new earth and coming into reality and stuff, you know.
I'm so excited for that because 100%. 100%. All right. Well, those are all the questions that I have for you. Did you have anything that you wanted to ask me?
I mean, I had a couple, but if you want, we can schedule one for next week so that we can do like it more like fresh.
We can totally do it. We can do interview for you on mine and interview for me on yours.
Okay, cool. That sounds good to me.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop recording.